Welcome to the National Stadium at the Arms Park. It's been a tour of steady improvement in terms of results, and I'm sure the Japanese will be relieved that it's also true in terms of weather. For really, they've seen the worst of autumnal Wales, and with this sunny afternoon, they'll hope to receive some light relief with the weather. The profile of the tour, of course, means that the stadium here is far from full, but it's these occasions that offer the young spectator a prized seat. Japan made their first visit here in 73. They returned for one match in 76 and again toured in 83, so no strangers to these parts. And no stranger to our summariser either, for to quote a report on the 76 match, Brynmore Williams, the man of the match, with his attacking flair, broke away to score a spectacular try. So fond memories of the Japanese, Brynmore.
But yes, fond memories. I mean, Gareth Edwards was reigning supreme in the 70s, and it was a wonderful opportunity to be speaking, to be playing against international opposition.
Now then, Wales are coming back off a very successful summer tour, but there's still the cynics, and quite rightly so, around maintaining that they haven't achieved anything until they've beaten a nation of some rugby repute. Where do Japan come along this continuum, if you like, of in world standards?
I think it's to maintain the continuity of the way that Alan Davis is wanting to develop the side around. I mean, he wants to play 15-man rugby. He wants the players to manage the contact area, which means that he wants to keep the ball moving away from the strength of the defence of the opposition. I think against Japan, they can experiment that.
How strange is it, as we see here, Thomas, the Welsh mascot for this game, just being led out, or leading out Ian Evans and his Welsh players. We've mentioned that the stadium isn't all that full. How do the players then respond to that?
Well, it is a shame, but they've experienced games against Italy last year, for instance, Lynn, where they weren't playing in front of a full stadium. I think they anticipate the fact that you're not going to attract a full stadium for international like this. What is important for the boys is that they concentrate on the job in hand and perform well.
The word quality has sprung to the forefront considerably over the last week. People not looking so much at the score, but the way things are developing in terms of patterns.
Well, I think that's the way it should be. I think we've been marginally disappointed over the last 3 years with the way the Welsh team have performed. I mean, Ireland still looms in the memory from the end of last season. Probably the worst game of rugby I've seen on the Arms Park for many years, and Wales contributing seriously to that, unfortunately. I think we're looking for style. I think the coaching team have almost a licence, or have had a licence, to lose, but lose playing stylish rugby. We are looking now for quality rugby first. We'll then look at the results afterwards.
And is there a lesson from the fact that the only time the Japanese have been successful is against teams who've kicked the ball away to them, whereas they're not really able to win the ball?
No, that's their main problem. I mean, they're exciting, they're varied, they play. The 2 tries they scored against East Wales, I thought, resurrected the tour for them. They believed in themselves after creating those two superb tries. I think they struggle in set pieces, they struggle in defence, their big hits go in, often from set piece play, but they find it very difficult to defend loose play. They take 2 men to knock one of the opposition down, and that obviously gives all sorts of opportunities to the opposition.
The first three names in that lineup are British Lions, and what an array of talent the whole back line makes. Neil Jenkins there also for his place kicking, with Rupert Moon and Adrian Davies expected to make the whole unit sparkle. The pack is a combination of scrummage solidity, line-out height and loose mobility, and they should monopolise possession. A touch strange to see that homely name Williams amongst those Japanese names. Ian is a 17th times capped Australian. Kutsuki, his quicksilver skills will have to be watched, and little Nagatomo stifled. Lacking in size, that pack will look to mobility as its salvation. The three South Sea Islanders there to stiffen its back and resolve. Ed Morrison of Bristol and the Rugby Football Union is the man in charge, a man who had a very busy summer and refereed the last two tests in the Australian-South Africa series in Australia, and also refereed the French-South African series as well. So, as Morrison whistles, and it's Aoki who starts, and a poor start that is. Lynn Jones the first touch, and well, that took everyone by surprise. I'm sure that Lynn Jones and the whole Welsh pack will be disappointed that they weren't able to clear that, and the fact that Wales took it in and failed to release it, the reason why Japan now have possession. Yoji Nagatomo is the scrum half, and a man that the Welsh back row will have to be watchful of, because he's very sharp, and not quite the understanding between the two of the Narberth. Evans gets away, and no one will catch surely the British Lion, and Wales skipper will dive into the corner, and no one let little duo Moon and Evans show their joy, because right from the outset, the opening seconds, and what a shocker for Japan.
Well, an impressive skirmish to start, quick channel one ball, but a poor pass, and a wonderful opportunist try for Ian Evans. Should I say opportunist though? The running that was left was incredible, but he showed his pace. He's an outstanding 2 years for Wales. Look at the concentration on his face. He had to aim for that corner, and he got there.
Well, the breakdown at half-back was crucial, and once Ian Evans had that yard, it was a matter of keeping his rhythm, not tying up, not getting all that excited, and just the rhythm got him into the corner. Little did Neil Jenkins expect to be attempting a conversion from this angle, this early in the game. And not all that far away either.
Well, isn't it nice to see Wales take advantage of mistakes, a breakdown between the half-backs and the back row. And then it's about the style of Ian Evans. Keeping away from the cover, notice he's staying out wide away, just gets around Matsuda and dives in for the corner.
Aoki's restart, overprotected by Wales. So, the penalty going the other way, straight away. It's Andrew Lamerton, Wales' hooker, winning his 5th cap this afternoon. And he came to prominence at the end of last season. So it's been an up and down tour for Yoji Nagatomo, the Japanese scrum half, as far as kicking is concerned. Suffered badly in the opening few games, but came into his own on Tuesday night against the select 15 of the 3rd and 4th division. And here hoping for his first point ever at the National Stadium here at the Arms Park. His first cap, and within 3 minutes can he register his first points? Not quite. And no haste from Tony Clement. Interesting that, well, it's not Neil Jenkins that'll restart. Both equally capable of doing so, Adrian Davies and Neil Jenkins, but it's Davies' responsibility. just a touch perhaps too far. The captain, Kunda, goes in to feed his scrum half, but again in his excitement, just his fingertips letting him down. So in there is the captain, Masahiro Kunda at hooker. He's propped by Osamu Ota and Kazuaki Takahashi. Wales with just over a 3-stone advantage, as you'd expect. And a considerable height advantage as well. Rupert Moon with a box kick, hoping to get Nigel Walker chasing down that wing, but overdone just like. So we'll be looking for Japanese innovation at the line-out, and already they're starting. So the captain, Kunda, has Sukaraba and Kaleta at which to aim, and that's against Copsey and Llewellyn. Copsey 4, Llewellyn 5. Quick ball from the captain, now then into midfield. Aoki, well, that's not the early ball that they would have wanted. Still, Aoki again gets Ian Williams chasing into the corner. Well covered by Nigel Walker. Williams very keen to get things moving again, but well covered by Nigel Walker with Anthony Clement just behind him. Morrison insisting in the gap. Sakuraba claims the possession, but not all that well gathered. Fujikake looking for a way through. He's placed it well. The switch is on as Kutsuki. Well marshalled by Rupert Moon. And Japan, the whole of Japan, very nearly diving in over the top. And Ed Morrison, a shrill whistle. No great angle for Anthony Clement. A solid game, little breeze, probably what there is against Wales in this the first half. Just 6 minutes gone and Wales ahead by 5 points. One try to Ian Evans, his 11th for Wales. Moon to Davis, the wider option to Scott Gibbs. Good support from Lynn Jones and Adrian Davies pushing Atsuda back, but he'd spotted that Anthony Clement was up in that three-quarter movement and sensibly pushing the ball back the other way. Now then, so a solid kick from Anthony Clement. Interesting to see that Gibbs wanted to take on his opposite number the first time he got the ball, just to tell him, well, that he means business. That's Bruce Ferguson, a Fijian. There's Moon again. He's delivered some untidy ball. Rescued by Wales, with the captain then taking over at scrum half. Adrian Davies inch perfect with that clearance kick. And thanks his captain for that well-delivered spiral pass. First time he's been selected at outside half to play for Wales here at the National Stadium. So, in a sense, a new experience. Sukaraba jumps at 2, Bruce Ferguson at 4, and Samuel Coletta towards the back. That was Ferguson delivering the whole of the Welsh pack to Nagatomo. 6 there is Samuel Coletta, helping clear away for the drive. It's well protected by Japan as Ota, the loose head prop forward, takes it on. Can't quite get it away though. Stuart Davies gets in, but illegally, it says Ed Morrison, number 6 Stuart Davies, Swansea's captain, and normally you'd see him wearing an 8 on his back at club level at least, but today selected at blindside wing forward, the position he took over in Zimbabwe on the summer tour.
Well, Japan not frightened to take on the Welsh pack, but I mean, if your technique is good, anything is possible. The hips were lower than the shoulders. It was effectively like a scrum wedge with plenty of control, and they gained about 10 yards and a penalty at the end of it.
This is Nagatomo's first appearance for his country in an international match. Not all that far away with that first attempt. This from a greater distance and a greater angle. And exactly the same action as well, just narrowly left of the post. So he needs to allow just a little bit more for his draw. 10 minutes gone, Japan, having failed with 2 penalty attempts, trail Wales by 5 points. Ian Evans' try with Adrian Davies' restart there. Is a free ball for the forwards? Not quite. John Davis on this side for Wales. Andrew Lamberton in the middle, Mike Griffiths on the far side. Rupert Moon with a placement. Emyr Lewis leaning on there. That's a touch too far from Adrian Davies. No real test for Matsuda. And Ian Williams offers him ready support, but awkwardly done by the Australian. Quickly taken by Wales, and that's a shame, because Ian Evans realised that he wasn't 5 metres away. And fortunate that there should be another opportunity of throwing into this line-out.
But a poor kick by Ian Williams. I think he told us in that very move why he plays on the right wing.
Very subtle, Brynmo Williams. That's a giant leap by Emyr Lewis, and a giant run as well. Now then, John Davis ready to burst through, mustn't lose possession, and that from the coaches will bring a wagging finger, because they're very concerned about managing the ball in the contact area, as they call it. And Emyr Lewis there, what a thrustful run. The scrum went through 90 degrees, that's why the whistle was blown, and the referee asked them to resettle.
Well, the Welsh forwards in harmony, but what good ball by Emyr Lewis. He crosses the advantage line. The important thing, though, is to stay on your feet. He fails to do that, and the move becomes ineffective.
Again, the pressure on Nagatomo such that Japan are going backwards under pressure, but Matsuda yet again, he's been one of the more exciting players on the tour. His handling skills, his running skills have excitement written all over them. Now, strange that Wales should bring in this line-out option straight to Stuart Davies, and that's excellent possession. Now then, Scott Gibbs can set up Nigel Walker. Not quite there. Anthony Clement covered then, but when we were expecting line-out innovation from the Japanese, it's Wales that quickly respond and produce something new.
Strength by Scott Gibbs. I think he rushed the pass a bit. There was room for him to move then. It wasn't a good pass, and Nigel Walker also took his eye off the ball, and that combined to cause the problem.
Knocked on at the line-out. Japan's problem is more of a weight problem than a height problem in the line-out. Ferguson and Coletta, 6'4" apiece. Moon. Adrian Davies. Well, there was some confusion there. Interesting that Nigel Walker gets involved as an extra flanker. It's stemming that Japanese flow that's the problem. Keeping the ball under control. And I'm sure that the Welsh forwards will want to run off the fringes here. And got it moving. And that's why Stuart Davies is selected in that position. The ball carrier at blind side. Now then, well, we thought Emyr Lewis would attempt a little chip kick there. Scott Gibbs, no thoughts of a chip kick at all. And one. Well, he showed his intention the first time he got the ball right at the other end. And so determined, so strong, and unstoppable. Good driving play by Stuart Davies in the street. That's what the Japanese failed to contend with, is the size and bulk of the opposition. Then they go left. They change direction of the attack, and
inventive play by Emyr Lewis. He saw that there was space there for Adrian Davies to move into, Scott Gibbs rather, and then his power, he had the control of the situation, he had the ball, plenty of room himself, and he crosses for a good try.
So Wales' second try scored. One from the captain, Ian Evans, now the second from Scott Gibbs. And that, surprisingly enough, his first ever for Wales, his 19th appearance, and such a thrustful runner. This man has 100 points for Wales, Neil Jenkins. Again, not an easy kick. He gets it up to 102. And the reason why he's playing is his kicking ability, and shows why. Well, Emyr Lewis quickly realised that Rory Underwood wasn't defending there, so thought twice about kicking and passed it. And Scott Gibbs, seeing the fullback going across, Matsuda wrong-footed and through the tackle. Well protected by the Welsh pack. Rupert Moon having a look around to see the possibilities. And again, it's well done by Adrian Davies. So the early signs from the Welsh pack, Brynbo Williams, are of comfort and control.
Yes, it is. I think they still need to tidy up their line-out play. Rupert Moon won't be too pleased with the delivery from there. I mean, it's such a crucial area of possession, especially for the exciting backs that we've now got. But they do look tidy, they look determined, they are together. Just a little bit more polish perhaps, and will be even more effective.
Notice that Gareth Llewellyn is towards the back of that line to mark Coletta and Ferguson. Japan wanted the long throw-in and appeal around the back. Knocked on at the line-out, results in a scrum. Lots of manoeuvres at the back of that scrum, the back row wanting to spin off, and successful in doing so. Now then, Rupert Moon changing his mind once. There should be men over here. Neil Jenkins, well marshalled, but again Adrian Davies, delicate little chip through. We saw him score 2 tries against Japan for the A-team with neat little grubber kicks through the defence, but they're just too near the touchline.
Good switch of play by Rupert Moon, but look how deep that Neil Jenkins takes the ball. Keep driving forward. The defence is quite good, but then there's a space for Adrian Davies, and he sees the economic way of going forward is to put the kick in.
The Welsh players will be a little annoyed. The ball was on its way back there, and had the referee waited for a fraction, there was good second phase on offer. The number 8 scrum half combination of Latu and Nagatomo gets it away, but no yardage gained because he was straight out from the scrum.
The link between number 8 and scrum half is vital in the Japan team, obviously, because they're under so much pressure in the scrummage.
So Anthony Copsey, Gareth Llewellyn and Emyr Lewis are the main line-out targets, and Andrew Lamberton fails to find one of them on that occasion. And the Aoki will be glad to get that ball away. So it's 5, 6, 7 metres upfield. Shinobu Aoki winning his 5th cap. And that's the difference at this early stage at the line-out. Well, better aimed, but the tap down then not quite up to it. So when one thing doesn't work, or when one thing does work, the other doesn't. So as Brynmore was saying, it's tidying up the line-out that now becomes prerequisite.
It's an area that we are expecting to dominate, so we need to tidy things up there to give Rupert Moon the chance to launch the attacks.
Emyr Lewis is there as scrum half for Wales in this 2-man Japanese line-out. Sukaraba and Coletta opposed by Copsey and Gareth Llewellyn. Well, Emyr Lewis wasn't quite sure what to do then. The referee did say carry on. So Rupert Moon being drawn in. And the momentum kept up by the scrum half. Number 8. And again, their hands getting in the way, but from an offside position. Is there something more settled coming this time? Yes, indeed. So Anthony Clement aiming towards that far touchline. And there's no find the striker of the ball in Welsh or in World Rugby.
I would agree with that. The good decision there by Ian Evans. Good tactics. Let's diffuse the enthusiasm of the Japanese.
Of course, the advantage kept at the line-out from that penalty. So it's a good position, this. But Coletta again denies Wales possession. But they don't control it all that well. It's still there. Stuart Davies, quick thinking. Now then, it's protecting that ball and making sure it comes back on the right side. That's the next problem. Rupert Moon offers his instructions. Again, they have it under control and they're deciding which way to take it. And it's so number 8, Emyr Lewis. Have enough Japanese defenders been taken out? Well, this is a clear entry for Evans. It just needs a nice bounce. The captain, the second try. Well, so simply done. And to be fair, the Japanese three-quarters have kept their line pretty well, and that forced Adrian Davies to kick, but such a touch and pace on the ball that he was there sitting pretty for Ian Evans.
The important factor to look for here is Emyr Lewis running and taking out. We're not seeing it on the screen there, but he took out the Japanese defence, and then that gave the opportunity for Adrian Davies to develop some space, albeit with a kick, but there was bags of room out there. Ian Evans was have to take the opportunist try.
Yes, now we do see the effect, and that's why they're drawing in Japanese defenders, fringe defenders. Although Coletta as well to start going across field, and they keep their shape, they don't fall for that dummy run, but Adrian Davies' touch sufficient just to get that ball bouncing nicely for his captain. So again, it's a difficult kick, virtually from where he attempted his first one. 50% success rate so far. The same result again, just throwing across the post.
Well, the sheer power of the forward platform was the key to this try. A little diversion there by Neil Jenkins, you know, just to distract the defence, and a very clever kick by Adrian Davies, and then Ian Evans had to just pick it up and cross for the try.
18 minutes of the first half remaining. 17 points. Wales lead. Well, that's not a typical Neil Jenkins relieving kick. Sukarabhat as well, Nagatomo to Aoki, but Lynn Jones had cut off the avenues, and Lamerton as well, knocked forward unfortunately. But that from Wales was expertly defended because the open side went one way, cut down the options for the outside half, and Lamerton, as all modern hookers do, coming from the other, and it meant there was nowhere for Aoki to go.
It was good defence. The defence is about reducing the space of the ball carrier, and they did that very cleverly there.
Latu and Uchi trying to work something, but they were running into their own men, accidentally offside. So the knee prop forward, John Davis on this, the tight head side. Adrian Davies and Neil Jenkins, the mismove to Anthony Clement. Japan had covered it relatively well the first time, but now then, in chase on here, Nigel Walker is chasing. Ian Williams is still in play. Nice pick-up as Emyr Lewis keeps it going. John Davis. There are 3-4 men waiting for the next pass. Now then, can it be delivered from here? Essential that Wales release it. It's from Lamerton to Moon. The wider option from Davis to Jenkins. Now then, Scott Gibbs. He tries to grab the kick. And Matsuda was back there just in time. And strange that Gibbs should have kicked it there, having taken on the defence every previous time he had the ball, but still well defended by Japan. Anthony Copsey, for the first time at this level, jumping at 2. Normally, when he played for Wales, he jumped in the middle. It's his 9th appearance for his country. Important that Copsey gets onside. He's retreated behind the last man as Nagatomo gets in his kick, and a fine when it is indeed. His place kicking might not be of the top order at the moment, but very busy and very workmanlike around the field. Anthony Copsey has been jumping at 2 for Llanelli as well, and wins that spot on the back of an excellent A display against Japan and Llanelli against Cardiff. Now then, there should be space out wide here. It's a matter of timing as Anthony Clement gets away and Nigel Walker offers the angle. Now then, well, didn't know where to go next. Just hesitated for the moment. Emyr Lewis knows which way to go though. And now then Moon can swing it to Scott Gibbs. That's intelligently done. Can the captain get into the corner? Easily past one, not quite there. And the support not there either, and offside against Japan. Had the ball been there available for Rupert Moon, surely they would have thought of running it, but as it is, as Nigel Walker will come off the field, the hamstring that he injured against Llanelli a fortnight ago obviously has gone again, and that's the end, and that's why he pulled up when he seemed to be through. And such a shame, because with Wales playing in this way, it would have been an exciting prospect to see Walker in full flight. Wales take the penalty. Neil Jenkins and Emyr Lewis takes out 3 tacklers. Now then, is it well enough protected? Stuart Davies is there. Lynn Jones is pulling apart one Japanese. Adrian Davies, Neil Jenkins. Ian Evans again puts it there for the forward, which then means that John Davies has to wrestle it upfield. Mike Griffiths there is there, and Andrew Lamerton, the front row men in concert. Good to see.
Also compliment the Japanese defence that they kept their line intact and Wales were unable to cross the advantage line.
Michael Rea down on touchline wearing 17. He's got 10 caps, so an extra one to his tally at the line, and he's on instead of Nigel. Not the first time he's appeared on the wing. Did so against Japan last season. Stuart Davies has stepped off. He's kept the ball off his scrum half. Certainly gets it off his number 8. Now he's taking out opposition back row men and releasing it. And then is there a scrum half there? Rupert Moon quickly recovered. Lynn Jones, a decoy run. Neil Jenkins, there's a gap for him. Nothing the Japanese captain Hirotsu can do. He complains to his tight head forward Takahashi that he should have taken Neil Jenkins, but not easy from that distance to stop this man.
Again, very powerful forward play by the Welsh team, driving towards the line, collecting the defenders as they go along. And then the choice is there for Wales to develop the attack whichever way they want, and Neil Jenkins then deciding where he was going to create the extra man. Comes in at pace, almost unstoppable, sees the gap and crosses.
It's no wonder that the Japanese captain complained to number 3. He's got his hands on his knees there, the prop forward, so he's not going to do a lot of tackling in that position. And no wonder that Neil Jenkins then was clean through. And this time Neil Jenkins will have no one to blame for scoring on this side, which is the more difficult side from which to convert. Having scored the try, is there that extra determination though to convert? Successful with one conversion so far. Now a try, so he's up to 7 points. It's to hoist it to 9. And for once the ball not drawing in.
Try for Wales, scored by number 12.
Oh, it's a nice sight of what actually happened. Good communication between Rupert Moon and Neil Jenkins. He saw the gap and glided through.
Shinobu Aoki is having ample practice at this facet of play. Not making a great improvement though, because again, Gareth Llewellyn was able to tower and have all the forwards around him as he landed. And again, the half-backs then, in comfort, can dictate matters. Ten minutes of the first half remaining, 22 points to 0, the scoreline. Wales ahead, or Wales leading. It's not going to be a particularly easy afternoon for Japan. Gareth Llewellyn claims it. The tap down from Collector. It was knocked on. The referee, well, it wasn't knocked on, it was knocked down, says. Interesting, good piece of refereeing. He wasn't sure. He looked to Fred Howard, his touch judge, and Fred Howard confirmed that it had been knocked on. So it's a matter of coming back.
Well, there should have been a defensive screen around Gareth Llewellyn here, but Collector's proving that he's not going to be held back and almost taking an opportunity from poor play by Wales.
Andrew Lamerton receiving some treatment on the knee. So won his first cap in Paris at the end of the last championship season, and then added 3 further caps during the summer safari to Zimbabwe and Namibia. So it's a real change for the Japanese. They've suffered during their stay here. It's been raining, it's been cold, and here it's perfect. And a shame for them that they're suffering then on the field rather than from the weather. And the pressure on them shown by that graphic. Again, the back row taking out the opposition. It's there for Rupert Moon to take it on. Ian Evans again goes in to stand at scrum half. He's revelling in this role, surely not the first time he's come in there. As again, the forwards spin it off and Moon releases Stuart Davies. And one of the better aspects is the patience the forwards have, Brynmore, and the fact they're waiting, they're controlling it before finally deciding when and where to go.
Without being negative, and we have to, I think, keep in perspective the opposition. But yes, there is control about what they're doing, and it's good to see.
Nagatomo was that forward. It's a suggestion there. As Latu, the number 8, took it on. Won't come. So the green ball, because Japan took it in there and failed to release. Sinali Latu, the number 8, the last one up there. He's a Tongan, one of 3 South Sea Islanders in that Japanese. Emyr Lewis and Rupert Moon did well to check out to that tackle. So well supported again by Stuart Davies. And again, Davies takes it on. Is it well enough protected? Right through the middle, and the Japanese receiving treatment here. Lynn Jones, Andrew Lamerton, Adrian Davies, now then John Davies. They're all there. Emyr Lewis, Lamerton, the overhead pass. Oh, glorious to Scott Gibbs. They lost it. Oh, dear me. What a shame. If ever a movement deserved a try, it was that. And the forwards equally versatile as backs.
A very enterprising play by Wales. I mean, most of this happened before we see Scott Gibbs, but wonderful play by the forwards, looking for people in space and prepared to pass the ball, keeping it alive.
Scott Gibbs had the ball knocked out of his hand. Well, the forwards, the big men, are changing angles, delivering finely judged passes. Lamerton missing out a man, and then creating all sorts of space for the three quarters, and so unfortunate for Gibbs there that Ian Williams should knock the ball out of his hands.
We must compliment the coaching philosophy. It's in movements like that where you see the benefits of coaching coming through. The awareness of forwards, especially front row forwards, is a real compliment to the coaching staff.
The spinning scrum means that Ed Morrison has no option but to call them back. It's supposed to stay square. That's the first element. Just 5 minutes remaining, and again it's on for Moon. Rapid control by Japan, and Rupert Moon will say thank you very much. He'll register his first international try, and it's up to 27.
Well, the part of the game is to take advantage of the opposition's mistakes and the pressure that the Japanese scrum is under. You look at their legs, they're beginning the French. The ball is no control whatsoever in the delivery, and Rupert Moon is very, very alert to take advantage of that.
It's impossible for the scrum half in this position. The ball even come out between the prop's legs, and no control whatsoever, and a hopeless task for the defenders. And Jenkins with a further 2 points. So it's now up to 29, and still some 4 minutes remaining of the first half.
When the pressure is so extreme, the first thing that sacrifices control, and that's what happened here. But very alert work by Rupert Moon, as I've already indicated. A good try by him, and he'd be delighted to score for his country.
And that time Coletta very nearly got to the restart ball. It was knocked on though, so Wales will have the scrum. Now, the problem, having scored so many points early on, is to maintain the commitment and the enthusiasm and not to sit back on it.
The concentration is sometimes more difficult against loose opposition than against better opposition.
Kitsuki gets Ian Williams running at Mike Greer. And well positioned Greer as Ferguson takes it on. A lanky or rangy Fijian in that Japanese pack. So Mike Greer, an emergency left winger, but positioning himself well. He won't want to offer Ian Williams the outside. That's the important factor, and he held him up well.
His foot-filling ability is so great that he can be inventive wherever he plays on the park, and it's good to see him on because we all know that he is a great player.
Zamu Otto is the Japanese prop on this side, and with Hirofimo Uchi just behind him as a flanker. So this will kick still Williams, and Matsuda can get in the field. Now then, Uchi rescues it and sets the Japan going. Now then the captain, Kunda, Nagatomo, Aoki, Fujikake, helped by Bruce Ferguson. He's putting himself around yet again. He's had a fine tour. Now the Nagatomo, Latu. Well, it was Uchi. Was there a man running in front of the ball? Brilliantly delivered to Latu. Good tackle though by Adrian Davies. Lynn Jones and Neil Jenkins. And it'll be a scrum 5, I'm sure, because it was knocked back over the line. But that was good from Japan. And they've certainly not thrown in the towel, despite being 29 points adrift, and with some 2 minutes to go to half-time. Latu attacks Rupert Moon, but they've not controlled it well enough. They've lost possession, and they will lose territory as well, because in their enthusiasm, or their over-enthusiasm to get in and reclaim the ball, they went into offside positions and yield a penalty. Sinali Latu sets off so many of their movements off the base of the scrum. And that's punishment from Anthony Clement in that now they've driven back some 40 metres.
Yeah, I think this reflects the pressure they're under in the scrum. He isolates himself almost, and there are more Welsh jerseys there than Japanese jerseys. They fail to get the support there in time.
The throw-in at the line-out wasn't straight. Japan then were offered the option of taking another line-out with their throw-in or a scrum where they put in. First time we've seen that problem, and that's something we should be grateful of. Collapse scrum can become a bane in the game. Nagatomo, Aoki struggles to collect that. The centres further struggle as Scott Gibbs then with a chance to tackle, then Leon Evans, Neil Jenkins from Jones. Moon can get away from Sukaraba. Aoki, Stuart Davies, what a thumping tackle. Does he stop a try though, because Wales still have control, they're still maintaining momentum, but they're rolling over the ball, and what a shame. So all the hard work ends up with a penalty to the opposition as Aoki fires it away, and that's a beautifully struck kick. Fully 50 metres, flighted perfectly without wasting an inch, and that from Ed Morrison is the half-time whistle. And a satisfying first half it's been for Wales, a traumatic one it's been for Japan. They remain scoreless at the halfway stage, with Wales having accumulated 29 points. So Brynmore, a quick resume then of the events of that first 40 minutes.
Well, domination by the Welsh team, Lynn, as we expected, of course. But it's nice to see the control amongst the forwards, the way that they're looking for each other. The communication is very, very effective. And that last movement with Rupert Moon spearheading it was a good example of the running off the ball that the Welsh team are doing, because irrespective of the quality of opposition, the running off the ball is a very important factor, sometimes more important than the ball carrier. And that is to be admired in the Welsh play today.
So we'll have a look at that last movement, Brynmore.
Well, another mistake by the Japanese. You know, they're under pressure all the time. It's very, very difficult to get their passes away. Neil Jenkins there immediately picking that ball up. But look at the running of the ball. That's the point I'm trying to make now. There's Scott Gibbs staying in support, Neil Jenkins and Lynn Jones. He's done a lot of running. Rupert Moon has got there. And all of this is important in team play. It's essential ingredients in quality team play. And Rupert Moon is slowly making an impression in this game. I think the pack haven't been as dominant as you'd have liked in the lineup, but he is now at the heart of everything. Look at the support that's there. It's not tidy, that particular incident, but they're all there, and that's good work.
Now the game couldn't have started on a worse note for Japan. To yield that try in the opening seconds was traumatic, to say the least, for them.
Yes, I think we have to sympathise with them. I thought they started positively. That little kick-off to Lynn Jones was clever if it was intended, because Lynn Jones is the most isolated of the forwards, of course, at kick-off, and that enabled them to block the possession for the Welsh team, giving them the scrum. So that was good thinking, if it was intentional, of course. But I mean, then the bad pass, of course, gave Wales the opportunity. Look, I mean, the way that the Welsh team are keeping the ball alive, I mentioned the irrespective of the opposition, it's about discipline, it's about putting the ball in front of the man, it's about support work. I think in this game, that's what Alan Davies, Bob Noster and his team will be looking for. Clement's here under a bit of pressure, but he just shows you how strong he is upper body. I mean, we don't credit him with that because he's such a delicate runner, but he is strong. You know, decides to kick because there's no support perhaps in that particular instance, and keeps the pressure on. Look at Nigel Walker's thinking there. Not take them on, but look for support. And it's really good to watch. Although, as I mentioned before, we have to keep in perspective the quality of opposition, but then you have to do the skills, and that's what's good about the Welsh performance so far today.
It's patience that people call, the coaches especially. We've been so used to just hoping for second phase. The coaches are looking for third, fourth, even fifth phase possession, and that's perhaps the difference between rugby in this country and in the Southern Hemisphere.
That's right. I mean, the popular phrase these days then is the recycling. It's a difficult one that for me, but that's what they use in the southern hemisphere. And we are recycling ball. I mean, by that I interpret it as being that we're recycling, we're delivering it quickly, giving your half-back the opportunity to make decisions as to which direction they want to take play. So good stuff so far.
So Ed Morrison is ready. Hirotsu, the Japanese captain, is ready. And so the second half is away through Adrian Davies. And that's a beautifully struck kick. It really hung there. It had ample height. And it should have been reclaimed, if anything. Aoki finding his hands just a touch cold, perhaps. The path just a touch high. And the combination of the two yielding for Wales an excellent position right at the outset of the second half. Anthony Copsey jumps at 2, but the target I'm sure would be further back from this area of the field, unless they're looking for a front peel. Gareth Llewellyn towers, and so quickly in there was Anthony Copsey to protect it. Rupert Moon wants it spun, so on they go. They're looking for the weak points in that Japanese defence. Ball on its way then, wider now to Adrian Davies. Ian Evans was in the line. Scott Gibbs was checked for a moment. Adrian Davies maintains, and Lynn Jones maintains the momentum. This is where possession has to be kept. Set up yet again, driven on. Mustn't be held too long, otherwise the Japanese defence will reorganise. It's there for Stuart Davies, and that's why Rupert Moon wants it driven towards the Japanese back row. Latu drawn in there. They're looking for weak points. Andrew Lamberton wants to be protected. Now then, little run around. That was dummy running from Rupert Moon. As Moon again, the passage is clear. And Emyr Lewis, well, those who will wonder why they took so long, that's the perfect example. Every option was closed down for the Japanese, but ultimately there was no one there to stop Emyr Lewis.
It is going to be easier for the pack to be more effective in these sort of situations without the pressure that the Japanese are under in the scrum. But some wonderful communication and tight work by the pack there. Clever work also by Lynn Jones. Decided to dummy this at that time. Usually he passes to Rupert Moon, but he's gone back to strength. They're back in control, and then Rupert Moon just takes the man out. That's important. And who's in space but Emyr Lewis, crossing for the try.
Well, that little thrust of Rupert Moon had brought in the last defender on that side, and in isolation there was the Japanese captain Masahiro Kunda, and Emyr Lewis won't have an easier ride than that. Two conversions and the try to his credit so far, Neil Jenkins. Little breeze on his back. This the second half. And that's another 2 points to his tally. So 36 points is a huge mountain for Japan to climb.
This really was good work by the pack. I mean, it's almost perfect ball for any scrum half. I mean, there it is. It's been delivered. He has time to think what he's doing. Takes the man out. That's the important thing, of course. Emyr Lewis stands out and crosses. Good try by Wales.
And from the kick-off, Coletta had a fine run. Fujikake has now been brought down. And the captain has fallen the wrong way now. That should be Welsh possession there. John Davis has made it Lynn Jones's. Scott Gibbs. Chase on here, but well covered by Bruce Ferguson. Well, there's some tugging of shirts as Welshman tried to chase that ball. Tony Clement on the breeze will want to drive this as far as possible inside Japan's half. It's a long kick now on the bounce. Was saved by Ian Williams, and again not the most comfortable left foot we've seen in international rugby. 17 times he was capped for Australia, scored a try against the British Lions, the first test in 1989. So well in again dominance, but it wasn't straight. A word of advice from Gareth Llewellyn to Ed Morrison, the referee, about the opposition closing the gap at the line-out. There really are two giants in that Welsh second row. Cal Llewellyn, having been captain on the summer tour to Zimbabwe and Namibia, today winning his 20th cap. So vastly experienced for a young man. And Ed Morrison now explaining to Samuel Coletta, who has the best English of the Japanese forwards, or Japan's pack.
The line-out is a minefield. I mean, you see the gap being closed there, which is why the penalty was given away, but it's such a difficult area to referee, isn't it? It's certainly difficult to analyse, believe me.
Well, despite being 36 points behind, the Japanese supporters are still in good spirits. So, it's not all over as yet. Again, you see the thrust on that scrum, and Nagatomo then finding it difficult to get that away. So, Lewis gets it into midfield. Good switch from Adrian Davies. Tony Clement, again, so easily past opponents. Stuart Davies supports it well. Such a shame that should have been knocked on, and Nagatomo surely will get it off the playing area. Quickly taken by Wales. Clement has taken it, so Scott Gibbs and Adrian Davies. Now then, Ian Evans can have a run for the corner. Yoshida chasing him. The pass intercepted by Uchi, and Kutsuki just in desperation, happy to sail into the stand. So Kutsuki had to fly home to Japan straight after arriving here for his mother's funeral. So he's only played one game. Lamerton aims at Lewis. Good line-out work. It's there for Jenkins for the switch. He was knocked forward at the line-out though. Again, it's not a happy afternoon for the half-back. It was nudged forward, the ball dipping right at his toes, and almost impossible for Aoki. Is Ian Evans on for his hat-trick on that right-hand side. Now he's come into midfield. The back row again started driving and rolling, but they were over-protecting the ball. Stuart Davies was going in front of the ball carrier and clearing away. So Shinobu Aoki relieving pressure for Japan. His 5th cap today. It's for the Ricoh club. Club rugby in Japan is what it is here in Wales. It's the ultimate in Japan, more important even than international rugby. Here for Wales it's Scott Gibbs thrusting down the middle. The ball is protected. There for Rupert Moon. Adrian Davies looks for a switch. And again holds it up so well for the forwards. Now it's the blind side to attack again for Moon. Delays it superbly. John Davies then the charging ball upfield, the pick-up brilliant from Lamerton, the hooker, and again such a shame. The initial work, there's so much promise there, and the frustration then increases because the odd fingertip not quite up to it.
Well, John Davies positively supporting Rupert Moon, who crossed the advantage line, and then what a tackle, the so-called big hit. Although they've been around for a long time, take it from me. I've got a missing cartridge from a game against Japan 10 years ago. But good support by the Welsh team, but good defensive tackling by Japan.
It's very untidy. And Andrew Lamerton was coming in from the wrong side. The players still finding it difficult. The new laws stating that he must come in from behind the last man rather than come in from the side, which was permissible last season, and that's why Andrew Lamerton was called.
The big hit is fashionable these days, isn't it? I mean, but the beauty of the big hit isn't the spectacular tackle or the knockback or whatever. It's the fact that they're arresting the momentum of the progress of the opposition, that you can't pass, and more often than not in the big hit, the opposition, they actually win the ball as well, which is crucial. I mean, a lot of people tackle side on, and when people tackle side on, they can release the ball either way. But the big hit, you know, it isn't so much the hitting of the man, it's also arresting the movement of the ball.
So Ferguson recovered, and Aoki gets it away. Tends to be rather one-sided. That's the exception, as Japan win it. All that well controlled. So, can Adrian Davies get it wider? Scott Gibbs and Neil Jenkins. Now then Anthony Clement can attack Matsuda. And the switch offered by Raya. Brilliant hands again. And Clement is denied just in the corner. Well, we are really seeing, and no wonder the crowd are enthusing over this. Cheering and getting up from their seats just to watch some of the wizardry being shown by the Welsh three-quarters. Difficult this for Hirotsu. It's a long throw in, but it needs to be controlled. Kutsuki, well, brave work as Yoshida gets it away. It's still in play. Ian Evans will cover it. And it's still in play as well. And Bruce Ferguson, for the first time on tour, didn't lose it forward, I don't think. They'll maintain that. So now then Williams, chased by Rupert Moon. Oh, that's brilliantly covered by Moon. To cover a wingman so far out took some running and some determination in tackling.
Well, the awareness of the Welsh boys in attack here was excellent. They're looking for the switch because, remember, the touchline is there and that's almost an opponent in these areas of the field. But good play by the Welsh team, wanting to create space for the team member.
So an injury. Again, it's Bruce Ferguson. And took a bump when he tried to run out that ball from defence. But back in action again. All action man is this Fijian, 23 years of age, and winning his first cap for Japan. Andrew Lamerton has it, the throw in. Davis very nearly got hands to it, but it's that man again. Bruce Ferguson, no space for him this time though. And good to see in open play, 5-on-5. Ferguson and Llewellyn head to head.
1, 5, 7, 9, 6.
So the three South Sea Islanders in a line there. Ferguson, Latu and Coletta. No line-out ball for them though. Just Llewellyn. He gathers and gets the support. Look for the run-around between Jones and Moon. Into midfield then. Ian Evans has come on a thrust, but timing not quite right. It's there for Moon though to spin off yet again. Now there was no right winger out there with Ian Evans in midfield, so it was down to Scott Gibbs chasing and Anthony Clement, and Matsuda glad to get it away. Andrew Lamerton find line-out man Emyr Lewis. But again, all that tidy, and Copsey doing the tidying up. The Welsh need to release it, but it's not quickly enough. And the coaches will again just wonder whether that should have been done that bit tighter and that bit better organised.
The very thought was going through my mind that we seem to be going through the phase that we did in the first half. We're too loose, there's no control on the fringes, and because of that we're giving opportunities away.
No problem with concentrating the mind of that scrum. Emyr Lewis, Rupert Moon, that was timely from Yoshida. He's still got it in play, and Nagatomo wants to run it out of defence. Now then, that's on a plate for Mike Raya. It was brave, some would say. It was folly, others would say. Mike Raya can only say thank you.
Well, Japan in desperate straits here. First of all, we see Wales charging towards the line and Rupert Moon making a mistake. Doesn't matter when you're 40 points ahead, I suppose. but then Japan looked to clear the lines by using the ball. And then it's a mistake. It's a rush pass. The pressure's on by the Welsh backs. Notice how quickly Scott Gibbs was up there. And Mike Rea scores his second try in the Arms Park for Wales with a tremendous sidestep.
So Neil Jenkins with, for him, a straightforward conversion attempt. So Wales now up to 43 points. 15 minutes gone of the second half. So no shortage of practice for Shinobu Aoki, Japan's outside half and restarter. Now then, does Adrian Davies want to open out? Neil Jenkins happy to drive it downfield. Suda is an useful counter-attacker, so kicking ball away to him isn't a wise move always. But Mike Rea was there, a full-back playing on the wing can guarantee you good defence if nothing else, and that was perfectly exemplified by Rea there. Again, Japan get precious line-out ball. Aoki delays it that fraction. And notice how quickly Lynn Jones was, and Copsey releasing. Scott Gibbs now the captain can be on a hat-trick here. Scott Gibbs is on for his second. So again, the support running is so important. It's something that's been developed, and again, there were 3, 4, 5 people who were next in line ready to take a pass.
Great defence by the Welsh team initially, and Neil Jenkins up there straight away. But look how Copsey looks to clear the ball wide. He knows that the defence of the Japanese is more vulnerable out wide. And Ian Evans looking for the corner, but keeps the ball alive. Scott Gibbs is there. And then he shows us why he's an attraction to rugby league. What a handoff, and crosses in the corner.
Lynn Jones was in so quickly in releasing that ball off Jenkins that there was no way the defence could reorganise all that well. They did enough just to stop Ian Evans, but then Gibbs there just to brush Yoshida right out of the way. Neil Jenkins already 13 points to his credit, including a try. Right from the extreme, the most difficult of all for right-footed kickers, but with a slight breeze just to straighten it for him. And just pushing it too far right.
Try for Wales, scored by number 12, Scott Gibbs.
Well, the defence here, look at the front three coming up. There we are. That's the pressure of Neil Jenkins, Adrian Davies putting on the midfield attack of the Japanese. Then it's getting the ball away. The actual advantage line has been crossed. Then it's moving the ball wide. Good work then by Scott Gibbs. Hands the man off and crosses for a good try.
Again, the restart too far. There are men out wide here. Well, the three-quarters not quite putting it together. And Japan keeping their shape well. It needs someone to come straight downfield. That's the problem at the moment. No one just changing the angle and injecting a little pace. It's all a touch too lateral. It's a fearsome threesome. It's Davis, Lamerton and Griffiths. Japan's ball though, as Fujikake comes back to defensive strength. And Coletta overdoes the juggling. So an untidy passage of play. Just 1 point made from that try. Not so long ago, a Welsh second row in possession would have put down his head and burrowed on. Good to see that the other skills are now being shown and the pass being delivered. Adrian Davies now going through his defensive repertoire. It's out of the old coaching book of defensive outside halves.
Well, Adrian Davies not wanting to entertain any loose play here. Just a little step off the left foot, just to fool the defence and then create space for himself to find touch.
Japan making hard work of taking advantage of line-out ball again. But they do have the put in at the scrum. And that was quick scrum ball as Kutsuki sets up Coletta. But again, Welsh defence alive to that. So Ferguson attacking the midfield, and Fujikake not able to get away from Neil Jenkins as Mike Rea gets quick support from Stuart Davies. That's good perception from Davies. Now then Gibbs away from the first tackler, away from three. What incisive running. Mike Griffiths. Now then, this has to be won quickly and spread. The delay will allow the Japanese to reorganise. Moon spots a little gap. Now then Stuart Davies pulls away. Adrian Davies, who's next in line? Mike Rea. Again, the vision is there. The other way it needs to be, but again, the delay has meant that Japan have reorganised, or has reorganised, and the overcomplication making it just a touch difficult. Adrian Davies rescues it, or half rescues it, as Coletta takes advantage of loose play, and finally Wales are offside. So rather untidy. So the captain, Masahiro Kunda, wants his team to continue attacking even from this position and in this hopeless situation. Coletta, the man thrusting down the middle, with support work as well. Nagatomo can switch it then, and Luta and Kutsuki. That's lovely work. And Uchi, such a shame. It was a forward pass. It wasn't a knock-on from Uchi.
Some good play by Japan at last, although they really are out of their depth. Kutsuki here is a very inventive. Look how he straightens the line, then puts the man into space. Good play, but unfortunately it didn't develop.
I mentioned that indifferent period in the first half, but it's just a matter now of not overcomplicating things and maintaining the disciplines and the things they did well in the first half.
I think there's a real need. We're so strong in the scrum now, you can almost park Emyr Lewis on Adrian Davies' shoulder and have him punching into midfield. We noticed Ferguson, he's everywhere. He's obviously not getting involved. Wales need to tie those people in, and then that'll create the space for the backs to score a few more tries.
Ian Williams is desperately calling to his fullback to come across to this left-hand side to cover the touchline. He'd anticipated well Neil Jenkins' intentions because he's right underneath it. So Matsuda with the counter-attack. Lynn Jones put in the tackle. And Japan protected well, but the Welsh defence is there and waiting. Not easy to break that down, although Kutsuki, remarkable running. But again intercepted by Scott Gibbs, and Adrian Davies gets Anthony Clement running. Again the possession kept alive as Moon gets a fortunate bounce. Now then, who's the support man there? Diving in on the ground against Gareth Llewellyn. Going to the deck, the referee calls it. Quickly taken though, so Latu gets it into midfield, and again Yoshida can attack, and he was half away, but running backwards 50 metres isn't all that easy. This is a very untidy scramble. Takahashi, the prop forward, trying to exert some direction. It's there for Nagatomo again. Williams would have preferred a pass, but Israel watches it carefully over that line. Israel wanted to throw it in. I'm sure he had thoughts of that. Not often we've seen a Welsh line out that close to the goal line. It'll be a test of a discipline little practiced in this game. Lamerton lob to Anthony Copsey, and practiced or not, made no difference. It was perfectly done. If Rupert Moon could have possession like that every line out, then he'd be a happy man. Ferguson and Coletta at 2 and 3. And there are decoys for Uchi and Latu to come running around the back. Outside arm though, used at the back of that line out. Latu and Kutsuki, the two men in view. So, because it was a free kick, Rupert Moon, quick tap and the pass to his fullback. And again, Clement puts in.
Well, we're getting used to the new rules now. You're not allowed to jump with the outside arm, and there we see an example of how not to do it.
So, Sukaraba, Latu, well, that wasn't 5 metres, and that's a free kick. So surely Wells here will run it. The forwards are coming up to support Rupert Moon. Garl Llewellyn, well protected, and no one really wanting it. Again, that's where it breaks down. So Jenkins has to reset things. Patience needed. Organisation. As again they try to off Emyr Lewis. Oh, that was intercepted by Ferguson and sidesteps one way, Phil Bennett style, against the All Blacks, and goes the other. Yoshida puts in the kick. Clement is there. Escapes Yoshida. Now can he spread it out wide? Adrian Davies seeks that narrow channel down the far end. And back there again will be Ferguson and Kutsuki. Kutsuki, does he have any option at all? Or does he place the ball and restart the 22? No. Ian Williams, it's a long way to go. And that's usefully done by the ex-Australian international. Wells is captain, suffering on that far side.
On the floor.
The game started on a high pitch for Ian Evans. Within the first minute he'd scored a try on a run of some 60 metres. He quickly doubled that tally to take his Welsh tally up to 12. But since then hasn't seen much of the ball. So with Nigel Walker off the field and Mike Greer on as a replacement wing, could be, although Ian Evans seems to be okay, and so the services of Roger Bidgood as an emergency wing won't be required. Ian Evans, who toured New Zealand with the Lions and again advanced his claims as one of the world's leading wingers. So a round of applause, and the face tells the story of how painful it is. Acrobatic work from Copsey. And again, they're looking for the weak point. Stuart Davies. The important thing is not to get isolated in those situations. Oh, there are Japanese hands there. And such a scramble there. It was difficult to get the ball away, and Japan get the benefit of the doubt. So Kutsuki, that's good improvised work in midfield. He's knocked on though. And the problem is both midfield defences are so tight that doesn't matter how intricate the movement is, it seems to be well covered.
Well, this is a real compliment to the front three defence of the Welsh team. They're up in that line, and Japan are unable to cross the advantage, and in the end the pressure Scott Gibbs pays off.
So Yoshida can get away here from Adrian Davies. It's a kick and chase between Yoshida and Clement, and such a shame. One of the few times we've seen the Japanese winger Yoshida in full flight.
Well, Yoshida, what a good take by Matsuda. He is a good footballer. It's a shame he doesn't have more opportunities, but he does create space for Yoshida, who's looked good all tour in all fairness when he's had possession. He's sensible in kicking forward there because Clements marks him out well.
Nagatomo gets away, indifferent ball. Kutsuki, that's nice work. And Fujikaka. Oh, this is Japan's best period. There's a man over here. Kutsuki can go all the way. And that was forwards, and what a shame. And the Welsh defence was back there in any case, but that seemed to be open, and Kunda, the captain, would have been delighted had he got in there.
Some good play here. I thought Kutsuki straightened up the line. He should have passed sooner, I thought, because Ian Evans would be committed to two men. He was under pressure and failed to get his pass away.
So Moon getting away, quickly delivered ball. Normally you'd want the scrum ball rather better controlled for that in defence. Tell the whole story of that, because the amount of possession both have had and the quality of possession has been very different. Ferguson again winning quality ball, and Fujikake striving to gain ground, and again Aoki running towards Welsh tacklers. That's good work from the scrum half, but Kutsuki messing up. Fujikake, Matsuda, now then Yoshida, and again his captain was outside him, Kunda, on that far wing. Ferguson again involved, and really he is a workaholic. Now then Takahashi, this is good Japanese pressure, and again Kaleta off scrum half Nagatomo. Again he's there to spread it even wider this time. Now then, is there a man over? Matsuda just couldn't run onto it. He was drifting away from the ball, couldn't really attack it, and after excellent Japanese movement, it all grinds to a halt.
Good running by Kaleta here. Look how he aims from midfield to try and take out the midfield defence, and then it's the quick release. They're actually winning some ball now. They look very inventive, but they tend to be complexing things about too much. And then Matsuda, who's an exciting runner, drops the ball. Perhaps the pass is a little bit too far in front also.
So Moon and Adrian Davies again getting that ball away, just perhaps to illustrate that it is slightly cold for the fingers. It's 11 degrees centigrade, which is just over 50 degrees Fahrenheit. Ian Evans leaving the field, so Wales lose their captain, and Roger Bidgood is ready to come on the right wing. So good line-out ball again, although it's front of the line ball. There's lots of movement from Kutsuki and Yoshida. Well, that's catching Roger Bidgood cold. That good thinking by Japan, and what a tackle by Neil Jenkins. Emyr Lewis gets in a relieving kick. Stuart Davies somehow retrieves it. Now then, is there Welsh control? Japan dive in over the top of it. Whether that was intentional from Japan, but such quick thinking to test Bidgood before really he'd had a time to warm up and get into the game.
Well, an outstanding movement here. Excellent passing by Japan. Let the ball do the work, and then the support work. Missing men out also, which gets the ball out wide, and then that's what releases Yoshida. And Roger Bidgood, being cold as well, obviously wasn't able to defend that effectively. Good play by Japan.
Stuart Davies a clear view of that, and an unopposed catch. Now then, well, it's a change of tactic from the Welsh midfield, which gets a muted round of applause. And people have begun to expect Wales to run it from every angle. 48 points to 0 the score. And perhaps if there is one negative point or touch now is the fact that the midfield hasn't quite created enough space and chances for the wingers. As Uchi gets away, Takahashi. Good Japanese thrust again, and it's the giant Ferguson then. Hands on to Uchi yet again, and Kunda the captain. They're maintaining possession well. Aoki, well, that was running off the ball as Kutsuki creates space for himself, but Adrian Davies again covers as Nagatomo and Aoki get things moving the other way. And Ferguson in midfield again. Long loping strides away from Lammerton. Hands it to Williams, and yes! Glorious strike. And no wonder the smile. His first appearance here at the National Stadium. One of his great ambitions was to do so. And having scored a try against the British Lions, having played in South Africa and Twickenham, this was the other highlight in his career, and now a try to cap it all.
A good play by Japan. They're using the ball very, very enterprisingly now. They're looking for space. They're looking to see what they can do with it. They're not rushing. And they get the ball out wide. Here's Ferguson again, who's made himself redundant from the rucks and mauls, I'm sure. But he's running into space. He's not running at the man, and that's what allows him the opportunity. And Ian Williams will be delighted with that try in the same way that Rupert Moon was delighted for Wales.
Nagatomo to add a further 2 points. Just across. Ian Williams talked of having played at Ellis Park. He played at Twickenham, and this was the final location where every man wanted to play rugby, or so he said. And now he's got to try to show for it as well, just supporting Bruce Ferguson, who's had an outstanding game, tremendous strides from the giant Fijian, and little for Williams to do but to drive into the corner. Latu gets a free catch and a free run for a while past Stuart Davies, not past Emyr Lewis though. Number 8 on number 8, and suddenly Japan have upped their game, and good timing of a pass from Williams, and again it's Ferguson, and a timely interception from Rupert Moon. Now that was he checked. Kutsuki wants it swung into midfield, but no time for that as Yoshida comes across, still wants to run. Positive to the end as Adrian Davies blocks his way. And the crowd getting behind Japan and realising that despite the scoreline, they're certainly not giving up.
Well, good work by Rupert Moon. Actually, he's a real live wire this afternoon, but he's taking the ball forward in front of his pack. That's the important thing. Good defence by Yoshida. He was back there covering like a good winger.
Well, some of Wales's line-out skills breaking down as we enter the final 2 minutes of the game. It's there for Aoki to open up. Again, Fujikake. But that's a fine tackle from Neil Jenkins. Did he pass it off the ground? Yes, says Ed Morrison. And can Wales run in one more try to get to 50? It's 48-5. A set move planned. Neil Jenkins as the pivot. How many fingers was that? Not easy to see from here. Now then. There's a man running into space. Stuart Davies half through. There for Moon again. Is it well enough protected? Adrian Davies, Scott Gibbs looking for Lewis and Moon again. Now then, there is space out there. Moon can clear it. He can get to the line. Even collect it. Wow, what a tackle. What a tackle in the corner. And again, this is outstanding work. Quickly taken though as Kutsuki gets it away. Well, you can't take breath here.
Well, good running initially by Rupert Moon, but perhaps he should have been more aware of the players outside him. But what wonderful defence by Coletta. Look, one hand stretching out. Coletta's been outstanding on tour. The whole back row have. Good work by them.
Moon of good line-out ball. Now then, is there something for the three-quarters to create? Again, it's just a touch untidy. Tony Clement. Now then, the fullback at last gets a touch and gets through and gets a try. So at last, the half-century achieved. And Clement, so thrustful, getting his try.
Well, individual flair is a precious commodity in any team, especially when you got this sort of platform by the pack. John Davies releasing the ball. He's always aware of people outside him. A lovely sidestep. That crosses the game line. Then it's about pace, getting away from the cover defence. Good try. Excellent try.
Neil Jenkins yet again successful. So it's up to 55, and that's it, the final whistle from Ed Morrison. So it's 15 points for Neil Jenkins, and a thoroughly convincing win for Wales. It's Wales 55, Japan 5. And Brynmore Williams, how do we put that into perspective?
Well, I was delighted with the discipline of the Welsh team on the whole. I think that the one negative, well, the two negative points I felt was that the line-out play early on was very poor from the point of view of support. And the other thing is we were too loose on the fringes. I think being in a game where you dominate so much that the pack have a tendency to overdo it. I think there was a need to slow things down, perhaps change direction of play. We'd have scored more points, but to score 55 points, in all fairness, let's compliment the boys. There was no way that Japan were going to be as weak as they were in that first game. They were bound to learn on this tour, and they have, although they've still lost by 50 points.
So here then at the National Stadium at Cardiff Arms Park, a thoroughly convincing win for Wales, a final score of 55 points for the home team and 5 for the touring Japanese. So as we bid you farewell, we now join the Rugby League International being played at Wembley. It's between Great Britain and New Zealand. It's 10-0, and the commentators are John Mooney and first of all Ray French.